All right, get ready because today we're diving deep into a Japanese podcast. It's called Hideki and Mayumi's Grilled Mackerel Radio.
Grilled mackerel radio.
Yeah, Grilled Mackerel Radio.
Wow.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The name is amazing, but trust me, the name is just the beginning of the unexpected awesomeness. We're going to be translating and unpacking some really interesting ideas about success and collaboration, all from this one episode.
Well, and what makes this episode so interesting is that it's a conversation between two artists who have very different approaches to their craft. So we have Hideki, who's a sculptor, someone you might think of as working, in a very solitary way.
Right.
But then there's Mayumi, who calls herself an inspiration artist and a fantasista.
Okay, I am intrigued.
Which basically means she brings this very unique, almost whimsical perspective to her creative process.
A sculptor and an inspiration artist talking about collaboration. I can't wait to hear where this goes.
Well, they get into this really interesting discussion about the importance of thinking beyond just personal goals and instead focusing on contributing to the field.
Okay.
Mayumi actually argues that the typical me-first mentality can be very limiting. She says that real fulfillment comes from creating something bigger than yourself, something that benefits, a whole community or even a broader purpose.
So it's like shifting your focus from competition to collaboration.
Exactly, and it's not about sacrificing your own aspirations.
Okay.
Mayumi thinks that contributing to the field can actually open up even more opportunities for personal growth.
So she sees it as kind of a win-win situation where everyone benefits.
Exactly.
I like it. But I have to admit, it sounds a little idealistic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is it really possible to make a difference without constantly promoting yourself?
Well, Mayumi actually shares this amazing story in the podcast about an art exhibition that she held.
Okay.
And this really illustrates her point.
So going into it, what was her kind of mindset going into this exhibition?
She was really determined to create the most positive experience for everyone involved, from the attendees to the staff.
Wow.
She just went above and beyond to anticipate their needs and offer help and support without expecting anything in return.
So she was really living this contributing to the field idea, but did it actually work out the way she hoped?
Well, what's incredible is that her generosity seemed to create this ripple effect of kindness.
Oh, wow.
People were so touched by her genuine efforts that they just spontaneously started offering help and support, too. Things just fell into place in ways that she never could have planned.
That's a pretty powerful example of how focusing on the collective good can lead to unexpected rewards.
Yeah, it really is.
It sounds like her approach attracted support almost magnetically.
And she believes this principle applies to any field, not just art.
Okay.
She says that people who lead with love and compassion, the ones who are genuinely interested in helping others, those are the people who ultimately rise to the top.
I can definitely see how those qualities would make someone a great leader. But what about those of us who aren't naturally wired that way? I mean, is it possible to learn how to be more compassionate and giving even in a competitive environment?
Well, that's a great question, and it's one that Mayumi addresses in the podcast.
Okay.
She believes that anyone can cultivate those qualities with practice.
So how do you start?
Well, it starts with simply being more aware of the needs of those around you and looking for small ways to contribute.
So instead of always thinking, what's in it for me,
Yeah.
we should be asking, how can I help?
Exactly. It's about shifting your mindset from me first to we first.
Okay.
And Mayumi believes that when you make that shift, amazing things can happen.
This is so thought-provoking.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to rethink my own approach to work and collaboration.
Oh.
While Mayumi has given us a lot to think about, I'm really curious to hear Hideki's take on all this.
And now me too.
Especially since, he's a sculptor.
Yeah.
Someone who traditionally might be seen as working in a more solitary way.
Exactly.
I can't wait to see how his perspective might differ from, or maybe even complement Mayumi's.
Well, before we dive into Hideki's thoughts, let's take a moment to reflect on Mayumi's story.
Yeah.
And what really resonated with you? What stands out so far about this idea of contributing to the field?
Yes, let's pause right here and give you, our listener, a chance to consider how these ideas might apply to your own life.
We'll be right back to continue unpacking this fascinating conversation.
Welcome back. I don't know about you, but my mind is buzzing after hearing Mayumi's story about that art exhibition.
Yeah.
It's amazing how her simple act of focusing on others led to this, wave of support.
Yeah, I know, right?
It almost sounds too good to be true.
It's a great illustration, though, of how contributing to the field can really have this ripple effect, even if you're not actively seeking, recognition or reward,
Right.
It's like when you genuinely put others first, good things just kind of tend to come back to you.
It reminds me of that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Oh, yeah.
If you focus on creating a positive environment for everyone, everyone benefits in the end.
Exactly. And it's not about being naive or letting people take advantage of you.
Like,
It's
yeah.
about approaching your work and your relationships with this attitude of abundance,
Hmm.
recognizing that there's enough success to go around.
So instead of seeing other people as competition, we should see them as potential collaborators,
Yeah.
partners in creating something bigger than ourselves.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And speaking of collaboration, this is where Hideki's perspective as a sculptor gets really interesting.
Okay.
You might think that sculpting is this very solitary art form,
Right, right.
but he actually sees it as deeply interconnected with the world around him.
That's fascinating. I'm curious to hear how he describes that connection.
Well, he talks about finding inspiration in nature, history, the people he meets, everything. He believes that his role as a sculptor is to channel these influences and express them in a way that others can experience and connect with.
So for him, it's not just about creating art for his own satisfaction.
Right.
It's about using his art to communicate something meaningful to the world.
Precisely. And he doesn't see it as a one-way street.
Oh.
He actually talks about how his art has been shaped by the feedback and contributions of others, too.
So even though he's the one physically sculpting, he recognizes that his art is a product of a larger community.
Exactly.
And that feedback loop, that collaboration, is key to its evolution.
Right. He specifically mentions the foundry workers who cast his bronzes
Oh, okay.
and the gallery owners who help him share his work with a wider audience. He sees them as essential partners in his creative process.
It makes you realize that even something as seemingly individualistic as art is often the result of a collaboration, a network of people contributing their skills and perspectives.
And that's what I find so powerful about this whole idea of contributing to the field.
Yeah.
It's not just about being selfless or giving things away for free.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we all have something unique to offer.
Hmm.
And that by sharing those gifts and collaborating with others, we can achieve things that would be impossible alone.
It's almost like we're all part of this giant puzzle.
Yeah.
And each of us has a piece that's essential to completing the picture.
I love that analogy. And, it's not just about contributing to a specific field like art or science or technology.
Yeah.
It's also about contributing to the well-being of our communities,
Right.
our families, even just the people we encounter in our daily lives.
That's so true, yeah. It could be as simple as offering a listening ear to a friend who's going through a tough time,
Yeah.
or volunteering our time to a cause we believe in.
Exactly. And, what really struck me about Mayumi and Hideki's conversation is that they both just seem to have this inherent belief in the power of contribution.
Yeah.
It's not something they do out of obligation or a sense of duty.
Right.
It's just part of who they are. It's woven into their approach to life.
It makes you wonder, does that sense of purpose and connection come from contributing to the field? Or does it start from within and then manifest as a desire to contribute?
That's such a good question.
Like a chicken and egg scenario.
It might be different for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
But what I found in my own life is that the more I focus on contributing and giving back, the more purpose and meaning I feel.
Mm.
It's like a positive feedback loop that just keeps growing stronger.
It sounds like we all have the potential to tap into that loop,
Yeah.
to find that sweet spot where our personal passions and our desire to make a difference kind of intersect.
But how do we discover what that looks like for each of us?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And probably something we'll continue exploring throughout our lives. But I think the first step is simply being open to the possibilities, right?
Yeah.
To the idea that our work and our lives can be about something bigger than ourselves.
So instead of getting bogged down in the how, maybe it's more about embracing the why,
Yeah.
the desire to contribute, to make a difference, however that looks for each of us.
I love that. It's like when you open yourself up to the possibility of making a difference, opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere.
Exactly. And what's so inspiring about Mayumi and Hideki's conversation is that it reminds us we don't have to wait for some grand opportunity to come along. We can start contributing right now in our own small ways within our own spheres of influence.
Yeah, it's about those everyday acts of kindness, generosity, and support
Yeah.
that may seem insignificant on their own.
Right.
But when multiplied across countless individuals, can have a profound impact on the world.
That's what I love about this deep dive. It's not just about abstract ideas.
Right.
It's about empowering us to take action, to make a difference in our own unique ways.
So as we wrap up this part of our conversation,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what's resonating with you, our listener.
Hmm.
What are some ways you're already contributing to your field, or what are some small steps you could take to start making a difference?
Let those ideas simmer for a moment, and we'll be back in a flash to continue our exploration of contributing to the field.
We're back, and I'm still thinking about something you said earlier about how contributing to the field isn't about waiting for some big life-changing opportunity.
Right.
It's about finding those small, everyday ways to make a difference.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's what's so inspiring about Mayumi and Hideki's conversation.
Mhm.
It just feels very grounded and achievable.
Absolutely. And it's not just about giving your time or resources, though. Those are certainly important.
Right.
It's also about sharing your unique skills and knowledge,
Yeah.
your perspective on the world. We each have something special to offer,
Yeah.
something that can benefit others in ways that we might not even realize.
It's interesting because sometimes it feels like we need permission to contribute. Like we need to have some grand title or achievement before we can, offer our help.
Right.
But Mayumi and Hideki's conversation suggests that it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
It's the act of contributing that can lead to those achievements,
Mm.
those moments of recognition.
It's like by focusing on giving, we actually create a space for receiving.
Okay.
We become more receptive to opportunities, more connected to the people and resources that can help us grow.
And that brings us back to Mayumi's point about people with love and compassion rising to the top.
Yeah.
It's not that they're actively seeking power or status.
Right.
It's that their genuine desire to help others creates a kind of like magnetic force that draws people to them.
It's like they become natural leaders because people trust them, they feel seen and supported by them, and that kind of leadership is just so much more powerful and sustainable than anything based on ego or ambition.
I love that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a reminder that true leadership is about service,
Mm.
about using your influence to make a positive impact on the world around you.
Right.
And, it's not just about grand gestures or sweeping changes.
Yeah, it's about those small, consistent acts of contribution
Right.
that over time can really create a ripple effect.
Think about it this way. Even a tiny pebble dropped into a pond can create ripples that spread outwards, influencing the entire surface of the water.
Wow.
Our actions, no matter how small, have the potential to create similar ripples in the world around us.
It's a beautiful image.
It is, right.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that we all have the power to create positive change,
Mm.
to contribute to something larger than ourselves.
Right.
We just need to be willing to take that first step to drop that pebble into the pond.
And what's so encouraging is that there's no right or wrong way to contribute.
Oh.
It's about finding what resonates with you,
Okay.
what aligns with your passions and your skills.
Mhm.
It could be mentoring someone, volunteering your time,
Right.
sharing your knowledge online, or simply just, offering a listening ear to a friend in need.
Yeah, the possibilities are truly endless. And I think the key is to start small,
Yeah,
to find those little ways to make a difference that feel authentic and joyful.
absolutely. Because when we contribute from a place of joy, it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
It feels like an expression of who we are. And that's when the magic really happens.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the power of contribution,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with one final thought.
Mm.
What small act of kindness, generosity, or support can you offer today to make a positive impact on your field, your community, or even just one person's life?
Remember, even the smallest gesture can create ripples that spread outwards, touching countless lives in ways you may never fully know.
So go out there, embrace the power of contribution, and make the world a little brighter.
Until next time, keep diving deep.